Hello and wishing you a bright and prosperous Diwali. Today we are going to talk about two more critical rights that the Indian DPDP Act provides to its data principles. The right to stay informed, take an informed decision and control your own consent. Welcome to my YouTube channel where you daily see new content on data privacy. And as I mentioned, we are going to talk about the right to be informed and the control over your consent under the Indian DPDP Act. So what is a data principal? A data principal is the person whose personal information is being processed. Right? Any individual whose information is being processed for any purpose, may it be marketing, may it be research, any reasons, is known as data principal. If that person is less than 18 years of child, then the parent or the guardian has to be a part of the data principal, which we traditionally has been seen that even if you open a bank account for a kid, it would be under guardianship of the parent or the guardian. And if it's a person with disabilities, then the definition also includes the lawful guardian of the disabled person. Right? Someone has to decide on the behalf of the person, someone has to provide consent on behalf of the person, and that's the lawful guardian. Moving on from that to what a personal data is. So personal data is any piece of information that helps correlate with an individual. His name, his address, his phone number. While name cannot be unique, but a combination of name and address or a combination of name and phone number can be, and mostly has to be unique, right? So any piece of information which in standalone or in combination with another piece of information helps identify an individual is a personal data. And it could also be his financials, his banking, his healthcare, his biometrics. And when we go to that level, we call them as sensitive personal data because loss of that data, misuse of that data can lead to problems. It can harm the individual. Loss of a healthcare record, loss of personal financial transactions, this could create a lot of problem. I have a video on what personal data, personally identifiable information is, and I do have videos on my channel regarding what loss of personal information can create a problem for you. Please go through them. I'll tag them over here in this video. And then we move on to the first important right that we are discussing today, which is right to be informed. Now, generally, you would say that when you are processing personal information, you are already giving a consent. So, what else do you want to be informed about? Well, there could be situations. A, someone has purchased a database and has taken my personal information. So, I was not informed about how he is processing it. B, someone has taken my personal information with a consent, but he is processing it for some different purpose. Even in that case, I can question, on what is my information with you. And when I talk to right to be informed, information you hold, it is also as to whom you share it, who is processing this information, how was this information collected, what was the method used, what was the purpose of collecting this information, how was the information processed, right? So that is what is the basic definition of right to be informed, that you can, as an individual, as a data principal, you need to be informed about what personal information has been collected by the fiduciary and how is it going to process and use your personal information, share your personal information. The government, the DPDP Act, they think this brings in transparency with data principles. Well, it does. It keeps you aware of how your information is being used. Informed decisions, you can say, I don't want it to be processed. They say it's been shared with X party. For further processing, you say, sorry, I withdraw my consent, which we'll talk about in the next slide. I withdraw my consent for processing. I don't want my information to be shared further with that party, or I don't want it to be used for that kind of processing, right? It increases the principal's awareness towards sharing of information and helps improve his control on his own data. Right? He is able to control his own data in a much better way if he has the right to be informed and if he knows how his information is being used. And when the fiduciary knows all this is possible, they become more responsible for it. Right? Then we talk about the right to withdraw consent. So a data fiduciary always gives you the mechanisms of providing consent. It could be a paper document, a account opening form. It could be an electronic one. They need to provide you provisions, maybe probably in both the methods as deemed necessary. Electronic would always be better, but depending on the locality and the level of education of your data principles, it could be paper also, which could be digitized later. They need to provide you mechanisms to withdraw consent. And it has to be granular, and they can provide you, like they can give you a chart. And again, I have a lot of videos on consent management also. You can go through them as well. I will tag the title one here, but there's a huge chain of around 20-25 videos. So they can check that, okay, this, I want you to, I'm okay if you process this, but not this, but not this, right? Small example could be that, okay, you can share my date of birth with the staff, but please don't send me any gifts at my home, right? So that could be one of the withdrawal of consent, sort of. In this example, you can say, I haven't given you the consent, but if in case someone sends a gift to your wife, for example, and originally you had sent consent to everything and you think you don't want it to happen again, you can say, I withdraw the consent of sending gifts to my family, right? So the data principal can withdraw the consent. The fiduciary therefore needs to inform consequences of the withdrawal. What impact would be there if the consent is withdrawn? Execute the withdrawal request in a timely fashion. Confirm it back to the data principal that have executed your request, and they can reject. They can reject your request to withdraw the consent only if the consent and the processing has a legal entanglement with it. It is required for some legal investigation, for some legal work. That's in case they can reject your request for withdrawing the consent. The purpose, the benefit of withdrawal of consent, it gives you the freedom, the data principal, the freedom to decide what and for what purpose to process and not process. It impacts the data processing, but that processing is impacted by your choice. It avoids misuse or discomfort of your personal information, gives you meaningful and fruitful processing, and makes the data fiduciary more responsible for handling your personal information. So using the right to be informed and withdraw your consent, you can assume, we talked about the right to have an access to your information, right to correct your information. The DPDP Act has empowered you to have full control on your information and how you want, whom you want to process or share it with anyone else. That's about these two rights. I hope you like the content of my video. Please press the like and bell icon. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and share your feedback on the comment section. Thank you.